In the ancient art of Japanese gardens, stones are not merely decorations. They are the very bones of the landscape, carrying centuries of spiritual meaning and aesthetic principles. Today, we explore how these silent elements speak volumes in Japanese garden design. Welcome to our exploration of stone elements in Japanese gardens. I am Sakura, your guide through this journey. In Japanese garden philosophy, stones represent the timeless, unchanging aspect of nature. The Japanese word Ishi-gumi, shizu, refers to the art of stone arrangement, an art considered so essential that the oldest Japanese gardening manual, the Sakuteikes from the 11th century, begins with the statement that garden making is fundamentally about the setting of stones. Unlike Western gardens, where plants often take center stage, in Japanese gardens, stones form the structural foundation upon which everything else is built. They represent mountains, islands, and even animals, telling stories through their careful placement and natural forms. The reverence for stones in Japanese gardens has deep cultural roots dating back to prehistoric Japan. In Shinto, Japan's indigenous religion, large unique stones were considered sacred and believed to house kami, or spirits. With the arrival of Buddhism from China in the 6th century, stone arrangements began to reflect Buddhist cosmology and principles. During the Heian period, aristocratic gardens incorporated stones to represent famous landscapes and literary scenes. The Muromachi period saw the rise of karesansui, or dry landscape gardens, where stones became the primary focus, often representing mountains emerging from a sea of raked gravel. By the Edo period, specialized craftsmen known as ishitateso, or stone-setting priests, were often charged with selecting and placing garden stones, a task considered both artistic and spiritual. In some cases, the Kawaramono, or riverbed people who lived along Kyoto's Kamo River, became skilled stoneworkers and garden designers, like the famous Zenami, who worked on the Ginkakuji temple garden. Japanese gardens feature several distinct stone arrangement styles, each with unique characteristics and purposes. First, Keiseki, jingshi, or scenic stones, serve as focal points in the garden. These large, carefully selected stones represent mountains, islands, or other natural features. Their placement creates a structural framework of the garden and guides the viewer's eye through the landscape. The best examples can be found in Tokyo's Kayosumi Garden, where magnificent specimens collected from throughout Japan create dramatic focal points. Next, near Tama-ishi, yushi, or jewel stones, are smooth, rounded stones used for practical and decorative purposes. Often placed around water features or buildings, these stones prevent splashing, control erosion, and add textural contrast. They're commonly seen framing tsukubai water basins or lining streams and ponds. Ishi-gumi, shizu, refers to grouped stone arrangements that represent natural formations. These groupings follow specific principles of asymmetry and natural balance. Traditional arrangements often use odd numbers of stones, usually 3, 5, or 7, placed in triangular patterns to create dynamic tension and visual interest. Finally, karesansui, kushanshui, or dry landscape arrangements use stones within raked gravel or sand to represent mountains, islands, and water. Made famous by Zen temple gardens like Raiwanji, these minimalist compositions encourage meditation and contemplation. The stark contrast between rough stones and smooth gravel creates a powerful visual effect that changes subtly with the light throughout the day. Beyond basic stone arrangements, Japanese gardens feature specialized stone elements that serve both practical and aesthetic functions. Stone lanterns, or Ishi-doro, Shi-danglong, were introduced to Japan from China via Korea during the 6th century. Initially used exclusively in Buddhist temples to illuminate sacred spaces. The oldest surviving stone lantern in Japan can be found at Tama-ishi Temple in Nora. Stone lanterns come in various styles, each with distinct characteristics. Tachidoro, Li-denglong. These tall, elegant pedestal lanterns are commonly found along garden paths, Yukimidoro, Shuejian-denglong. Snow viewing lanterns with wide flat tops designed to collect snow, typically placed near water, Oribe-doro, Jibu-danglong, named after tea master Furuta Oribe, featuring asymmetrical designs with different shaped openings, Kasuga-doro, Chunri-danglong. Slender, hexagonal lanterns named after Kasuga Shrine in Nara. Most stone lanterns share a similar 6-part structure. The decorative finial, hoju, the roof, kasa, the light chamber, hibukuro, the middle platform, chudai, the post, sao, and the base, kiso. Equally important are tsukubai, dunju, stone water basins used for ritual purification before tea ceremonies. The term tsukubai literally means to squat down, referring to the humble posture required to use these intentionally low basins. The most famous tsukubai design features 4 characters carved into the stone rim that, when read with the central hole, spell Waratada Taru Shiru, Wu-wei Zuji, or I know only satisfaction, a reminder of the Zen principle of contentment with what one has. Traditional tsukubai are accompanied by carefully placed stepping stones and often a decorative arrangement of smooth river stones. The sound of water trickling into the basin adds an auditory dimension to the garden experience. The artful placement of stones in Japanese gardens follows several key principles. First, stones are arranged to create a sense of natural asymmetry. Unlike Western gardens that often emphasize geometric symmetry, Japanese gardens use asymmetrical balance to evoke natural landscapes. Second, stones are typically placed in triangular groupings, with each stone playing a specific role. The tall vertical standing stone, Tama-ishi, the reclining metal reclining stone, Shintai-ishi, and the low horizontal prostrate stone, Keiseki. Third, the empty space between stones, known as ma, jian, is as important as the stones themselves. This concept of meaningful emptiness creates visual breathing room and enhances the impact of each stone. Fourth, stones are placed according to their natural orientation, respecting what the Japanese call the desire of the stone. This means identifying how a stone might appear in nature and placing it in a similar position in the garden. Throughout the seasons, these stone arrangements create changing scenes. Spring brings fresh moss growth on stones. Summer contrasts vibrant greenery against stone surfaces. Autumn leaves create dramatic colors against grey stone, and winter snow highlights stone forms with pure white accents. For those inspired to incorporate Japanese stone elements in their own gardens, here are some practical considerations. When selecting stones, look for those with natural weathering, interesting textures, and varied shapes. Local stones often work best as they harmonize with the surrounding environment. For placement, remember that stones should appear partially buried. as if they have been in place for centuries. The visible portion is often described as the tip of the iceberg, suggesting that much of the stone's mass extends below ground. Traditional Japanese gardens often use stones of similar geological origin but varying sizes and shapes. This creates visual harmony while maintaining interest. Mosses and lichens are encouraged to grow on garden stones, creating a sense of age and integration with nature. In Japan, gardeners sometimes apply yogurt or beer to stone surfaces to encourage moss growth. Stones in Japanese gardens remind us that beauty exists in simplicity, permanence amid change, and harmony with nature. These silent elements speak of centuries of cultural wisdom and aesthetic refinement. We hope this exploration of stone elements inspires you to look at gardens, and perhaps rocks in your own landscape, with fresh eyes and deeper appreciation. If you enjoyed this journey through Japanese garden stones, please subscribe to our channel for more explorations of Japanese garden elements, including our upcoming videos on water features and plant selection. Thank you for joining us on this stone path through Japanese garden traditions.